What is up, my friends? It is Nick Anderson, also known as Amongst the Whiskey, and today I'll be diving into New England Barrel Company. If you don't know New England Barrel Company, let me educate you. New England Barrel Company is a non-distilling producer doing things a little bit different than other NDPs. Founded in October of 2020 by James Saunders, James set out to address a pretty big problem he saw in the market, and that was a ton of mediocre whiskey hitting store shelves. James ran out of time and patience to explore all of these new releases. When he would get asked by friends and family which whiskey they should buy, he didn't have a good answer anymore. So in order to address that, he started his own whiskey company. I mentioned he's not really a traditional NDP in that he's not just sourcing from one location. This isn't another MGP copycat brand. James is sourcing really good whiskey from the likes of Green River, of course MGP, and he's also now doing some contract distillation with Bardstown Bourbon Company. The brand really started as a passion project though. James was collecting barrels that matched the birth years of his children. Once he had a few of those barrels collected, of course, the thought turned to blending. Now this is really where the differentiation from other NDPs comes along. Instead of just passing along single barrels from one producer, putting it in a new bottle with a new label for the purposes of just marketing it differently, James actually sought to change the makeup of the whiskey that he was sourcing, combining some of those Green River stocks with the MGP stocks. That's why you'll see in some of his earliest bourbon and rye batches, the age statement's pretty low on it. When you're blending multiple sources of whiskey, you have to list the youngest component in the blend. Them's just the rules. So when we pull out one of his earliest batches, like this 2021-01 batch, you'll see he proudly puts that age statement on there, 3.25 years. Actually, another neat little tidbit on this label, each of the seagulls flying around the lighthouse actually represents one of James's cherished kids, and of course his wife Tony. So what's really at the core of New England Barrel Company? For myself, I've been watching this brand since it was first started in 2020. I've picked single barrels from James. I've seen his stouted bourbon projects come to life. And really, I've watched him excel as a blender. Where I think James deserves the most respect, though, is his ability to take feedback. I probably offered James one of his earliest reviews, and I was a little harsh. What followed was actually a wonderful conversation with James, where he actually suggested, hey, you should try that again on another fresh palate. Try it 2 or 3 times, then report back. Admittedly, I had just opened the bottle, and I posted a very short review where I said it basically just didn't land. That comment alone actually sparked my editorial policy for AmongstTheWhiskey.com. It is why I taste things 3 times before offering any kind of rating or statement of quality. So I gotta thank James for being a real one. At the end of the day, he is really an enthusiast first and foremost. Seeing that kind of passion getting poured into a whiskey brand is really what we dream about as enthusiasts too. He's trying to produce a whiskey that he's willing to drink, rather than just trying to make money with this project. And I gotta say, he is just crushing it. 2024 was definitely a huge year for New England Barrel Company, but I think they're really on a come up for 2025. Part of that, and why I have you here today, is to take a look at a brand new setup that is coming to Reading, Massachusetts. New England Barrel Company has closed on a distillery and tasting room space. This is going to be huge for the brand. Having a central location for New England whiskey enthusiasts to meet and sample some of the best whiskeys is going to be game changing. That's where this bottle comes in. I already got a early access test drive of the fill your own bottling experience. I got to pull samples from quite a few barrels out on the floor, taste which one I liked the best, and leave with a bottle of my favorite barrel from that day. That one for me is this 12-year rye. This is one of James's first runs of barrels that he ever sourced for New England Barrel Company. A sister to that 11.5-year rye that is making waves on the internet. So what that experience looks like depends on the barrel. So obviously these are sourced from different locations. And James isn't slowing down. He's actually pulling barrels from all over the place right now. I saw some Belle Meade barrels on his shop floor when I was there. If you guys remember that old school MGP, a lot of those great projects coming out of Belle Meade from the Nelson brothers before they became Nelson Screen Briar, you'll remember those stocks have been pretty delicious throughout the years. But you might get past a drill to drill into the head of a barrel to pull a sample that way, or if there's a bung accessible, you might be able to pull out that bung, drop a thief in, pull out your own sample, fill up your Glencairn, taste away, find what you really love. For me, again, it was this 12-year MGP barrel. This is distilled in Indiana. This is the 95.5 rye mash bill. This is barrel 1203, clocking in at 120.2 proof. I should get this in a glass. That's part of the fun, right? We don't just talk about it, we be about it. Another great feature of New England Barrel Company is the prices are not there to gouge you. Everything has been priced really fairly, in my experience with New England Barrel Company. I mean, we're talking the small batch label at $30, small batch select label at $50, and private select single barrels from $70 to $100. Maybe some going north of that if they're ultra aged. I mean, in today's whiskey market, those are really good prices. So what do you think? Should we find out if the whiskey's any good? I already know this one's good. I got to pull it straight from the barrel. Confirmed it was delicious then, but I'll give you a quick taste here. Oh my gosh, yeah, that nose, just so creamy. Lemon frosting, just truly a delight. I get like an angel food cake, vanilla extract for days. Really good wood integration without coming across spicy or tannic. Yeah, it's just got that old school funk that I love. Really good age on this, obviously. 12-year age statement. Almost noses beyond that. That nose is almost like a 15-year to me. So don't knock continued maturation in New England's climate. I think these barrels are continuing to age as James has had them for the last 4.5 years. They are definitely continuing to evolve, and some of them obviously for the better. On to the taste. My goodness. One, mouthfeel is impeccable here. That drink's below proof. I know it says 120 on the front. Up front, it drinks about 100. I'd say the linger is where you can finally find some of that extra heat, but no shortage of flavor. I mean, this is a lemon lollipop. Some good cardamom notes, uber creamy like a chantilly cream. It's so satisfying. It's like the experience of popping a whole deviled egg in your mouth and just living through that bliss. I'm going to be savoring this one from start to finish. Let me know down in the comments what you're thinking about this experience. Do you want to try it? Do you want to fill your own bottle? Well, you're going to be able to pretty soon. The Fill Your Own Bottle experience should be open in January of 2025. If you're ever in Massachusetts, you definitely want to put this one on your itinerary. There's definitely some good whiskey to be found in there. And really what I love most about the experience with New England Barrel Company is James's dedication to transparency. He's going to tell you exactly where his whiskey comes from, as long as he's allowed to. There are probably some NDAs that may get in the way of doing that 100%, but whenever possible, he's going to give you all of the information that you can possibly ask for. He's a whiskey nerd like me. If you're a whiskey nerd too, you're going to enjoy talking to James over at New England Barrel Company. But that is going to do it for me today, folks. Until next time, keep it amongst the whiskey.